All right. How is everyone doing? Let's make sure that everybody can get in here right. And then, all right, can everybody hear me fine? So this is just an image that is up. I probably shouldn't have gone with this image, uh, which is okay. But that's okay. All right. So, yes, you can hear me. Everything's good. All right, then let's roll through this and do this. All right. So, this I want to make about the, there's like 4 or 5 good questions that I have on things. So, we're going to start and go through this stuff, analyzing it very well, and then um, going into really good details, and then we'll see how y'all do. So, I see someone just said no volume, but I thought everyone could hear me. Can y'all hear me? Uh, okay. Okay, y'all can hear me? Okay, cool. So maybe just some people don't have their headsets on. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so let's go through this. So the first thing that we'll just start the episode here because I'll edit from here. All right, so this is pertaining to the Idaho 4 case. I know that the image up on the screen is not the image that I should have started with, but it's okay. It's what's here. I have a list of questions of things that analyzing from the past and catching up to the future with what we know and re-looking at things and seeing if it makes sense. So let's start with this right here. So in this, we are looking at where this is when they were dusting for fingerprints. But the thing that is interesting is down in the bottom left-hand corner, there's bar stools that are here that you see. And you're like, what was that for? And we'll go into that of thoughts. Here's another one. This was taken from a drone. And you can clearly see that there is bar stools that are down there. And then here is let me show you. So this is another YouTube creator, and he flew a drone in there, and he has where there's bar stools down there. By the way, that is True Crime Rocket Science who posted this video. There it is in the title there. But he even shows bar stools down there. Okay, so here it is. You have bar stools that are down there, and you go, hey, what are they for? Now, obviously, is to stop the sliding door. Now, what we've been told or led to believe in a way more so, because I haven't seen anything direct in the police reports that mentions anything about the bar stools, doesn't mention anything about how the killer exited. But it's like the media pushed us into this belief of, without saying it, but we all started going with this direction for whatever reason. For a long time, we've been doing this, of thinking that the killer exited through these back doors of the sliding door. But we just heard people have come over into my chat and have said that Steve, one of the fathers, is saying that he went over there and had to fix the lock to the sliding glass door. I don't know if he said that or not. I'm just saying what a lot of people have said. So now we're questioning this, okay? What is up with this back door? you know, and did the killer go out that way? Now, one thing that I want to show you, okay, because I have an image that was more than likely taken almost not too long after this, may have been a day, who knows. But in there, you have where there's a point to showing you this. But you can see like there's stuff up here on the counter. You got OJ, you got maybe another thing of question that some people are wondering what this is. That's there, okay? But now let me bring you over this next image, okay? And now in this image, you see that the bar stools are upright, okay? And here you have stuff that's cleaned off of the desk here. So that tells me that that this was an image that was taken after, you know, bar stools picked up and everything. So then you also have at one point in time where an officer was using the sliding glass door. Now, handles on the right, the door on the right opens and slides. So would these chairs even work? You know, because they're rounded on the edge. I don't know. The other thing that I'd like to show you is that it wasn't like they were pressed up against the wall. As you see here, this is the range or oven, depending on where you are, of what your good grief, I can't talk, what your word usage is. But yes, it's the stools are pressed up against this at that time. So here's my question for y'all. Do you think that the bar stools were there before the killings ever took place? Do you think that the bar stools came into the picture like right before the killing started happening? I'm talking like minutes before the killing started happening. Or do you think that the bar stools were placed there when after, you know, the killings happened and Dylan and or Bethany went up there and put those bar stools there? So let's start with these three questions here. Let's say that the simplest one, okay? Let's say that you had these bar stools that were placed there by Dylan and Bethany after the killings happened, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is where he exit through. I'm just speaking hypothetical, okay? But if that's what happened, then let me ask you, why is that not in the police report? Or is there something that we're not aware of? So that's where my mind goes through. So that's the easiest one to get to. The next thing is, what if, and this is an interesting thought that someone came at me with last night. They said, hey man, what if the killer put those there to trap them inside the house? And that becomes interesting of a thought there. Now, there's not much to like really support much of these theories. Now, the other one that comes into question on this is, if the bar stools were there, you know, days, weeks, months, years, whatever, before the killings happened, well, if those bar stools had always been there, now I got the question of, we shouldn't really be believing that the killer came through the back doors or exited through the back doors, because we see these bar stools here. Sorry, I didn't mean to go to that image. But we see these bar stools here. So there's a few different type of thoughts, and I'm sure that y'all have some other thoughts. So make a comment on the video, not in the chat, but on the video when this is over, of some of your thoughts. I'd love to hear them and go from that angle. So that's one of my biggest questions that I have. Let's go to my next biggest question, so I can get rid of these images here. Now I want to talk about how this was cleaned up after. And I want to ask you, what is this? What is this right here? Now, when I went into ChatGPT, ChatGPT sits there and says, hey, we think this is cameras. I'm not cameras. We think that this is a candle or an incense, something of that level. The other possibility that it threw out was, hey, this is a jammer, meaning like police jammer or a jammer of 3G, 4G. So now let's play a game, okay? Let's say, and this is speculative, okay, because we don't know what this is, but let's just say this is a jammer, okay? Now I've got a question, okay? So we are told that Brian Koberger had his phone off, for an hour or whatever it was, okay? What if it appeared off because that jammer turned on? And what if those girls were trying to make calls while there was killings taking place? It's just a thought of a question. I have no idea what this is. Okay. Some people have wondered if this might be for a gas detector. I'm not sure. I tried pinpointing it. You get similar images to it, but nothing that I can say without a reasonable doubt that I'm like, yes, this is 100% what it is. So it could be anything from a candle to a jammer to, to who knows, just a square block here, right? So correct, it is on the bar stools. This was taken after they cleaned this off up here, and after they picked the bar stools up and put them upright. So another thing that I have a question on: why is there a cord right here? What is this cord to that's right here? No idea. So this cord more than likely, I think, goes to the lights. So, and that is a thought. Candidly, she said that, hey, the police put this here. So maybe the police did not want anybody to hear the conversations that was going on inside the house. Very possible as well. So, I don't think this is a water bottle because I've never seen a square water bottle, but that's why I don't think that it's a water bottle. So, and I appreciate it. I see some people in the comments that are like, hey, I don't think it's a jammer or anything like that. I appreciate it. This is just getting out of the box thinking. If you know what this is, I'm all down to hear. So, but yes, I would like to know what's the purpose of this cord here. Because it doesn't make sense of that cord being there. Now, as you see here, like this is what's on the other side of the wall. And there's no other hanging lights or anything like that, unless maybe there is something up there and I'm not aware of it. So, you're thinking Bluetooth speaker? Possible. So, great thoughts, and I appreciate it. It's just food for thought. Now, let's see. What else do I have for you kids? All right. This is interesting here to me. And this is why it's interesting. I'm going to show you this. And this, again, this is from user Gray Hughes Investigation. There's his new footage, so to say. Now, what this gentleman did is he went driving around. And I'll get more into this, but this is where uh, this is where the murders happened. Or sorry, right here is where the murders happened, and then this is a apartment housing here. And I thought that when you come down here, that you had to turn around, that you could not go around this. And I've asked people who swear up and down that they lived in this area, that they know these girls, and type of stuff. And I've always heard from them that you have to turn around, that this is not a full turnaround that's in here. So let me show you. So this guy drives through, and what's this? You can literally drive through this area. And you can then continue to drive around to go behind the house. You can drive literally behind the house. This is the guy driving at night to where you can do a full loop around there. So, and I'll show you here. So you can literally drive through this spot. Now, I don't know when he went through there. I've seen some people say, hey, maybe the area was blocked. I don't know if it was or wasn't. Okay. So this is the guy. He goes on to go down the road. I just sped it up so y'all could get out of here. And so now the house is on your left. So I'm sitting here scratching my head on this going, wait a minute. Now I have the question of the Linda Lane footage. And this comes from Uri Crime, and has it listed at 1330 Linda Lane is what they have this as. Now I have the question here, and let me expand this. Okay, so this is one of the things that they say. This is the alleged, white Elantra, okay? Or white car, whatever this is. It comes up here and does a 3-point turn. Why? Why does it not keep driving to go around to the back side? Because I've heard people say that the killer drove to the back side of the house. Well, wouldn't you want to just keep driving around on this? So I'm sitting here now questioning the Linda Lane footage. Let me show you. Let me zoom in on this. Okay. Trying to get my bearings straight. Give me just a moment and I'll get there. You would think that I would have the house directly marked. Hold on. I know what my problem is. I'm on. Man, my mind is messing with me. Hold on. That's why I was messed up. I wasn't even in Moscow. Sorry, my bad. So, my bad. Apologies. So here we are, okay, at the house where the killing took place. I know the ping's off a little bit, but it's okay. And this is what we were seeing. Now, I always thought, like I said, because of people who lived in the area, told me that you could not drive around. Now I see that you can drive around. And this was where the killer could be right behind the house. So what I'm wondering is, since that footage is at, 4:07, 4 a.m., 7 minutes later, I'm wondering if that's just the car for the DoorDash deliverer. Or if it could be just someone else that's at a random and it's just luck of the draw that it's a white one, right? And that's why they're doing this U-turn. They don't know the area all that much. Because we've heard that, when they talk about Brian Koberger, it's like 20 plus times that he went into this area that they say. Now, I got a whole entire question mark on that. Okay? So, now I'm questioning the Linda Lane footage. Don't know if y'all are, but I am questioning that. Other things that I question. I question these 5G towers and stuff, okay? The reason why I question a 5G tower is because I want to know the radius that they pinpoint. Because sometimes you have where, if it's in a suburban rural area, you have, 300 to 500 feet of a radius. So, where's that put, where they say Brian's phone was pinging at versus what they captured on camera? Does it just have it where it's in that radius, or did they pinpoint it being like exactly it's right here? And that I don't know. But let me show you where I have spotted 5G towers at. So there's one on the water tower here. Let's see if I can get you. Let's see. I think that's the spot, like where it's right there. Let's see. I know I end up seeing it on here. That's why I got it marked, right? Maybe. Maybe in this image. I can get it for you. Eventually somewhere I get it. Is this where it is? That I've seen it? Yes. There you go. I forget what these type of 5G towers are called. I forget the exact name, but this is one that's close by. Now, if he had a 5G phone, whoever it was, the killer or Brian, whatever your thoughts are of this, whoever it is, did they have a 5G phone? If they had a 5G phone, then you're talking about pinpointing a lot better, right? Let me show you another, whatever reason. I don't know why. Google Maps acts like this. Another spot that you have 5G is right here. Now this image was taken, I know you can't see it, but it's right down here in the bottom of October of 2021. So this is before the murders happened. That is for 5G as well. 5G was starting to, places were starting to go up in 2019 in some places. For those wondering. Not all phone carriers and things like that really started rolling with them, until, a year or two after that. They started pushing it out. And the question is, did they even really have it? This is another spot of the first type of 5Gs. So, is everybody still in here? Or did chat freeze? I'm just wanting to make sure. This is another spot, of these little small 5Gs all around this building here. Okay, cool. Y'all are still there. So, now we have a lot of these little 5Gs and big 5G type towers that could pinpoint a lot better a needle in a haystack. So, I am hoping that, that we get clarity on that. And I'm sure we will, that we're going to get clarity on the radius of did he have a 4G? Was it a 5G? What was that radius that was pulled off? So that I want to know. Trying to think. Okay, here's another thing. Going back to Gray Hughes, okay, of his footage. I want to ask a question. Where the freak is this camera? Okay, now this is not, when I first saw it for the first time, I thought this was pointing at, the house at 1112 King, of where the murders took place. Where this is actually pointed at is, and I'm turning the camera this way for a reason, this is off this balcony and it's pointed at this house right here. So I thought it was the murder house at first. And someone pointed out, they were like, no, the stairs don't. Those doors doesn't line up, and I'll show you. So here's the house. You see there's a door and then halfway and windows below on each side. It looks very similar to the house that the murders happened at. So you see door in the middle, windows below it. So it matches up. So I just would like to know of that footage, because I feel that footage would definitely really tell us what type of car it is, because it wouldn't be speeding. It wouldn't be blurry, right? The court case starts on August 11th, unless it's backed up. So jury starts like mid-July selection on that. And that could be something that could get it pushed back a little bit as well, because they're going to be looking for unbiased jurors. So, but where's this footage at? I would love to see this footage, because it could definitely show a car that's coming through. You could probably also see, a decent look at if there's a person in it, because you can see this car that's right here, right? And if you backed up, you would have a light that's shining in. You might be able to see a figure inside. So I would love to see that, and I'm sure y'all would love to see that. If you would like to see that, put a W in the chat. If you don't want to see that, then I'm questioning why you're watching this. Now, we have that. Those are my questions. This is my final question. It sounded like before they demolished the house, that they just gutted anything and everything completely out of there before they ripped it down, right? Well, I have questions. So, because is that cabinets here? Like, I think this is the bathroom. But is that cabinets? I'm just not sure. So that just makes me want to sit there and be like, man, because it does. It makes me afraid that there could be something that was evidence in that. Um, yeah, I see, like, you know, you got a satellite dish that's up here. So, I don't know. Do y'all think that they pulled everything out of this house before? Now, I haven't seen anything publicly of what their reasoning is for demolishing this. I mean, what did they do? Take the carpet and roll it up? What you think that? I mean, there's tons of things that could be very important. You know, like there is other houses that have been demolished. This is not the first. Okay, John Wayne Gracie's house was demolished. You know, the serial killer that killed, you know, like 20 plus people or whatever, and a dozen were, you know, buried under the house or something like that. But it's when you look into all these houses that have been demolished, it's all like after the trial was over, you know, and blatantly obvious, you know, who the killer was and things like that. Look, I get it. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people didn't like John Wayne Gracie's house that lived in the area. They were so happy when that house was torn down and it turned into just a lot. They were so much more happy when it was like 20 years later when a house was finally built on it. And it had a different address. So, Ink Patriot, you can definitely rewind back to the beginning if you'd like to. So, quick little 30-minute video. Here's all my questions of things that I've had so far. I have questions. That's all I can say. So, yeah, I'm with y'all. The house was torn down really fast. So, everybody, I'm now going to read through the comments of everyone who's in here. So I appreciate it, and we'll go from there. But yeah, if you want to stop watching the video, you're more than welcome to, or you can go through and hear the comments. Someone might say something that's interesting. So let me start from the beginning of comments that I missed. By the way, I appreciate it on everybody who gives a thumbs up, as well as, you know, goes to the video and makes a comment. I appreciate that as well, because it helps possibly boost it in the algorithm. I don't know what YouTube's rules are, so or what helps and what doesn't help. So appreciate anybody who is trying. Thank you everybody for being in here. So, do you know how many people had been in and out of the house by then? No clue. I haven't seen anything that I felt was, you know, was that made me feel comfortable with knowing that. So I do not know. Thank you, Jessica. Good to see you. Thank you for letting everybody hit the thumbs up. Anyone could have moved the bar stools. Very possible. Very possible. You know, that was something last night that we were asking, you know, could you just sit here and shake this door and then the bar stools get loose? So that is red tape on the sliding door right here. And that's for, you know, the sealed tape. And this does look like it's, it's broke. I'm not sure if that one is. Let's see. Wonder if they were placed to keep people from contaminating the crime scene. Um, the tape would be, but they wouldn't wedge. The police would not wedge bar stools like that. Um, if they felt the need to do that, they would have done something more, you know, more dramatic. Am I the only one that sees a reflection of a big fish on the glass? You know what's funny? I was looking at. I wish I went to took these images down, because there is one that I was like, man, I swear I saw a face. I'm trying to see if I still got it. I don't. But it's okay. Yep. But no, I'm doing that too now. Looks like a water flosser. I've never seen a water flosser. Hold on, let me look this up on the side. Uh, the only thing with a water flosser is it's more handheld. Um, Let me show you. But that's a good thought. I mean, honestly, I don't think anybody knows. So, but it's more handheld, type deal. But do you think that's it? Who knows? Um, would it keep drones from flying over? No, no. Wouldn't be anything to jam up that way. Um, Shampoo bottle with pump broken. Okay, okay. I mean, it's still a square one, but maybe it's something along those lines. With the top is broken. That's a thought. There were hanging lights outside. Yes. So that's what this plugin goes to. If this picture wasn't so cropped, you could see it laying across the ground and then going up. This, I just don't know where this went to. Yes, Queen Saltiness saying, could be a million things, though, to be fair. Yes, definitely millions of things that it could be. I'm just reading through comments. I appreciate y'all being here. Don't worry, I'll be catching up soon. Maybe the hanging cord is for the string lights, and the other is for something else the police are using. Maybe. Maybe. It almost looks like I can read something right here. Like it's a piece of tape with writing on it. Let's see. Yeah, it's super dark in that area when you were doing the driving around at night. Of course. Stupid ad. I think Birdie was saying something earlier in chat. GPT thinks it's another Elantra. And that's a long ad. But yes, this is a dark area except for, lights that are on the like here you have a light that would have shined down there on the house. Man, crazy. Let's see, what else do we have? Clean. I'll end up making a video of the timeline of events. I don't know when I'll be doing that, but I will be making a video timeline. When does the court case start? August 11th. Does anyone remember when they said they were looking for additional suspects in the beginning? I believe it was 2 other suspects. I've heard people say that there's other people that they investigated. I think that they even, investigated Dylan and Bethany and ruled them out real quick. Don't hold me to that. It's all over the house, just ridiculous. Any type of DNA is evidence, right? Because literally the only thing that they have of Brian Koberger is touch DNA. So of inside the house that we're aware of. How could they before the case was brought to court? I know. I still don't understand the tearing of the house down. So, all right, let's see. Almost looks like I'm caught up in the comments. Why would they tear the house down before trial? Because can't they use that saying they could have been more correct? That's how I feel. Looks like an old hand radio. Yeah, I felt that as well, Caitlin. Like one of those old cell phone block phones. So why wouldn't they? They had to keep people out. Well, they don't do this for other houses. I mean, you have evidence that's there. Yeah, Joy, there was another cord in the image. I'm sure you already seen that. If not, just ask it and I'll do it. If they had no other way to lock the door to keep people out, the cops would most certainly put. They've got tons of other ways to do it. They could easily put a police officer there, until they sit there and they put boards up, or they put some type of lock on there. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure someone's gonna stand there. They're gonna have an officer there until they get proper usage. They're not gonna sit there and be like, well, we're gonna go home for the night. Let's just put up bar stools here and hope for the best. So, yeah, Tracy. So Tracy said that Steve, the dad, claims Brian's DNA was on the girl's leg as well. I take things of what Steve says with a grain of salt, and I really wonder how the other parents feel about with the way that Steve is saying non-public information. I just feel that if I was one of the other parents, I would be very upset because this could be stuff that jeopardizes the case. I also question, would this be something that puts Steve up there on the stands and says, okay, let's throw you on the stands. And then if they sit here and it comes out to, hey, you told something that wasn't true. It's just how they do in trials. But whenever someone says something that's not true, then everything else they've said is turned into a question mark. So I don't know. I just, me as, if I was one of the parents, I would be bothered by that. So I'm all fine with the parent being pissed off, mad, saying, stuff. I'm all fine with that. Just don't say sensitive information. Maybe Hi Brother said maybe the cord ended on the other side and they took it down under the door to plug in. Maybe. Uh, so I see Sassy says, I just don't think that the house is necessary. It would be challenging to do a field trip there for the jury. It would. I mean, I don't disagree with that. What I'm bothered with is that there could be a potential thing of evidence that's there. I mean, let's play this route. Let's say that they, go to letting the FBI, just take full whole reign into this and do whatever, even if they found another killer or, wanted them to go after Bryant, however all that's done, okay? Let's just say that the FBI goes full charge into this. Would you not think that the FBI wants to visually see with their own eyes versus instead of a 3D model? Even if it was just as simple as that, see if maybe they can find anything else that's in there that hasn't been seen. I feel so sad. So Sassy said if they had any other DNA from Brian Kohberger, we would know. I feel that as well because I have seen Ann Taylor seem like she just will fight anything and everything underneath the sun to try and get it, taken out. Taken out of court, So if there was something else that was a big thing, of evidence-wise, I do really feel that we would know about it. No, great question. Sassy said, they were already in there. I question that as well. I question if that's why the killings took place literally at snap of the fingers, right after the DoorDash. So yeah, we'll be seeing that. Sorry, I'm tapping my knuckles on the desk because I'm thinking. You were talking about the bar stool in the door. Okay, sorry. Hi, brother. Let's see. Tracy, see, that's another thing. Tracy said, I hope Steve doesn't jeopardize anything. See, I feel that type of stuff too. That's again why if I was a parent, I'd be like, dude, stop. I get that you're mad. Blurt that stuff out all day long. Full reins, go for it. Any day, all day. Okay? But don't put it into question of jeopardizing. That's just how I feel. So, have looked at so many 3D models on the house, and I still don't fully grasp the layout. It's a very hard layout on the 3D models. I'm right there with you, Jessica. It's it's so much better to visually see it. If like I'm not even talking about jurors. I'm talking about if anybody had to go back to this house to try to understand what in the world they're looking at. So, you think so, Sassy? So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Pretty sure that Steve's watching this. I mean, he might not. I don't know. I might not be on his celebrity level yet. I seen a photo from above the house. There's a ladder link. Yes. I'll show you that gentleman's drone footage. And you can see a ladder there. So give me just a momento. Where did I put that footage at? Am I just blind? Probably blind. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back. I'm looking through my history right now. And man, I do not know where. That footage is at. Well, I can find a still shot image of it. Dun, dun, dun. I'm just pulling this up. There we go. Okay, so here is. I wish I would have found the drone footage, but yeah, this ladder was right here. That was down here, and some people wonder about climbing on top. You know. By the way, I'm actually glad I pulled up this. So, all right, so you have that plug that's hanging here, right? I wonder if it might be pushed underneath here and then brought up and gone over the window. Or maybe what this line is that's right here is coming off of all these other millions of who knows what type of lines, you know, internet, phone lines, whatever that's here. The other possibility is that it was used to come up through here because there's another plug-in right here. So maybe at one point in time, maybe you're right on something. Maybe at one point in time they actually had other lights that was up here hanging. And they used the outlet all the way down here. Maybe that's an idea. Maybe that's an idea. Yeah, so the blood DNA that's on the knife sheath, I think it's like you got Q1.2 and Q1.4, whatever it is. 1.2 is the touch DNA, and you know that's what they say is Brian's DNA due to the family DNA history, whatever, blah 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 blah. Y'all know the story, okay? The blood one on there, I think, from what I've been told and what I recall is that was only enough to find out if it was a male or a female. There just wasn't enough blood there for DNA. So who knows? Now, the other DNA that's underneath the fingers, okay, let me tell you something. I'll look later and make a video on this. But, actually, I'll look now. Why not now? I don't know. All right, I'll do it right now. So, how many people do you think that their DNA is not in the police database? So, I'll tell you the number the other way around, okay? As of 2025, the FBI Combined DNA Index System, which is the CODIS, contains over 22.5 million DNA profiles from offenders and more than 1.3 million forensic profiles from crime scenes. So totaling around 23.8 million profiles, right? So here we are. The U.S. population is 347 million as of 2025. So that means that approximately 323 million individuals, about 93% of the population, do not have their DNA in the CODIS. So that's insane. So we all feel like, like, oh man, I remember when I was a young buck, I remember I used to think like, oh man, the police have everybody's DNA. Why? Because you were born and blah, blah, blah. They don't. I mean, I don't even know what the percentage is, but that's basically like 1 out of 10 people have their DNA in the database. So I'm not shocked when I hear that, hey, we don't know who the DNA is underneath one of the girl's fingernails. I'm not shocked at all that they don't know who it is. They know they have DNA. They just don't know whose it is. So I've heard other people say that there's other DNA that was found. So they may have your fingerprint for being a teacher. Maybe. So I'll read this all off to you for anybody who's interested in all of this. It says it's important to note that the CODIS primarily includes DNA profiles from individuals convicted of or arrested for certain crimes, as well as forensic samples from crime scenes. It does not encompass DNA data from private generic testing companies like 23andMe and Ancestry DNA, which are not accessible to law enforcement without specific legal processes. Does everybody understand that? Therefore, unless someone has been involved in the criminal justice system in a way that warrants DNA collection, it's highly likely their DNA is not present in the National Law Enforcement Database. So, how many people's fingerprints are not in the police database? What got leaked? I think you're talking about the 23andMe, but still, police can't access that even if it was leaked. They have to go through certain ways. It's just not like it's going to be thrown into their database. So, as of 2025, the FBI's next generation identification, which is the NGI system, maintains approximately 166 million unique fingerprint records. This includes about 86 million criminal fingerprints and almost 80 million civil fingerprints, with individuals appearing in both categories. So, you know that what the U.S. population is. So that means that approximately 177 million do not have their fingerprints in the NGI database. So that comes down to 51.5% of the population. It's important to note that the NGI system includes fingerprints from various sources, such as criminal cases, employment background checks, military service, immigration process. Therefore, unless someone has been involved in activities requiring fingerprints, it's likely their fingerprints are not present in the National Law Enforcement Database. Is that not insane? Half the people walking around do not have their fingerprints in the database. 93% do not have their blood in the DNA police database. There's a reason why some people feel that it was a setup for 23andMe, you know, and all that type of stuff to get DNA from people. Let's see. Caitlin said, I seen a photo from above the house. There's a ladder leaning against the house. Wonder if it was used. Yeah. Very, very fair question. You know, of that ladder. Because I don't think we know how the killer got in and out of the house. But well, I think that concludes tonight's episode. Greatly appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much for being in here. Thank you everybody who goes and likes and comments. You know, after this video, goes and makes a comment on the video. I appreciate you. Any questions, thoughts, if you want to, you know, correct me on something, please do. Please do. Because I want to make sure that I tell things correctly. I am not one of these that wants to tell people something wrong and then people go and run with it. So I like to be as correct as possible. Or if you have another theory or thought on what you think any of those questions I have could be. Or maybe you see something that you're like, man, you got to take a look into this and see if there's anything else that I could look into. Because y'all know that I really do look hard into stuff. So, let's see. Here's one thing. I'll say this. Let me show you this image. Let me show you this image real quick before I go. If the ladder was used, okay? If it was used, I have a question. Why is it still there then? Because this is after like weeds are growing up and everything. They had the fence all around the house. So why did they leave it there? And if they left it there, that means they probably didn't feel it as an importance. So, what's up, Scott? Cajun said, I know that they have my fingerprints. Get a gaming permit? Okay. Slot machine maintenance, no joke. Well, thank you for letting us know that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody, for being in here. I hope you have a wonderful, blessed, and amazing day. Thank you, everybody, for the likes. Greatly do appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed, and amazing day. Take care. God bless. Do not live in fear, because when you live in fear, you die several times in your life. When you do not live in fear, you only die one time. Take care. God bless. Bye, everybody.